Metroid is a flagship game for the Nintendo series and system. 1986, brought to us by our friends over in Japan.
I was young in 1986. I didn't really begin to appreciate the game until much later. The graphics, the storyline, how great the game looks, and how entertaining it really is.
It's got a different feeling than a lot of the other vintage Nintendo games that are more fantasy and plumber-oriented. Metroid's a little harder, it's a little darker.
Metroid was invented by Gunpei Yokoi, an esteemed Nintendo designer who helped create the Game Boy.
He also created the Game & Watch series, which was awesome. I mean, everybody had that double-screen Donkey Kong, the orange one.
Gunpei Yokoi was also responsible for bringing us one of the nicest paperweights in history, the Virtual Boy.
But Metroid was definitely like his best gift to GameKind.
Metroid's a pretty simple tale of girl wears robot suit, girl in robot suit goes to planet to find missing scientists. Girl in robot suit kills gigantic brain in jar.
So you go in and you find out that there's these space pirates, of course, and they found this creature called the Metroid.
The Metroid was a race of these aliens that were being used by the space pirates to use them as radiation-type weapons.
Metroid set a standard in probably the worst enemy ever. They introduced the concept of space pirates.
How scary can you be if you're a space pirate? I mean, do you have like a space parrot and like a space patch on your eye?
They didn't pirate very much. They didn't do a lot of pirating.
No, not a lot of plundering, really. Yeah, give me your space treasure.
Arr. Mother Brain was the leader of the space pirate to capture the Metroid, and you don't actually see Mother Brain until the end.
So on your way to Mother Brain, you have to fight her underlings, Ridley and Kraid. And that's kind of interesting that she had goons out there to do her dirty work, because she's just a brain in a jar.
So the two bosses I remember are Ridley, who had wings, and then Kraid, who walked on his hind legs, and he was kind of spiky like a porcupine.
And they gave those guys last names, did you know that? It was Kraid Krogers and Ridley McIntyre.
Yeah, you play the main character is Samus Aran, and if you play the game long enough, if you complete the game, you find out she's a woman. And that said a lot of tongues wagging. Oh my god, it's a woman.
And it's kind of interesting that that's like a twisted, like it never expressly says it's a male anywhere, but you just assume because it's a video game, and most video games just seem to be populated by males, certainly back then.
Then you want to sleep with your own hero, and it's all kind of...
You're 12 and you're playing Metroid, it's like, you're just starting to deal with the idea of like, so you don't want to confuse with video games, because then it's just like, whoa, like...
Yeah, I mean, I was messed up for years because of it, but I mean, I don't regret anything. I don't regret a single thing.
I don't think having a woman video game hero is confusing sexually. If anything, it reinforces the fact that a man's role is to control the woman through a joystick.
It didn't really matter. I mean, it was like, I always thought it was a robot. So to find out it was a human at all was kind of surprising.
If you beat it in, I think, 5 hours, she took her helmet off, and you were actually able to see that, oh, Samus is a woman. You beat it faster than that. I think it was an hour and a half. She stripped out of the costume, and she's wearing a bikini.
And you keep playing the game over and over and over again, hoping she's gonna take something else off, but it doesn't really happen.
Beat it in half an hour, though, and you get the ultimate prize. Access to her feelings. And you get to tap that space ass.
And I think it was not meant for people like you and me to be all excited, like, yes, the hero is a chick. It was more like, oh, Samus is hot, I want to do things to her later.
The best thing about Metroid for me is the fact that it was side-scrolling, but it was also an adventure.
Yeah, Metroid was not action-based. It wasn't about shooting everyone. The challenge of the game, the fun part, was the exploration.
It's a real pain in the ass to figure out where you are, and so what I would try to do is I would try to make maps of like which room I would go into.
You had to draw little maps, and you had to steal your older brother's graphing paper, get a good pen, and write out exactly where you had to go, how many times you had to go up or not.
As you navigated this open-ended world, they made it so that you could see areas you could not get to. And later on, when you found new jumping boots or ice beam, you realized, oh man, you could go back. So the game design was impeccable.
First weapon that you got was the morph ball.
When you press down, you can go into all these little passageways and roll around like a ball, which actually makes no logical sense whatsoever.
Morph ball. How many games could you do a morph ball
That is definitely
attack?
my fantasy football team name now. Morph ball.
The morph balls.
Some of my favorite beams in the game, you had the ice beam, the wave beam, and I think there was some gym beam that you could use. And the beauty of that was, it would help you get Samus's armor off much faster.
Perhaps the screw attack is one of the more famous ones because of the hilarious name and all that it implies.
The screw attack made this sound like cutting metal. And when she's in her Technicolor Raver outfit, it looks really nice.
Critters, these things are coming at you.
From the mother brain.
Right, of course.
So they come at you and you freeze them. And then you can shoot the
keep
mother brain.
shooting, yeah, the mother brain, and then
It's a very complicated process. You
Yeah,
have to
it's
use
a little crazy. Wow.
all your bits and pieces. You had to use all your missiles in order to be.
You were advanced.
What? We were?
We were.
The best thing about Metroid, I have to say, one of the best things, in addition to the gameplay, is the music. Really spacey, really minimal, just kind of sad, like you're trapped on this planet and everyone around you's died.
Very lonely game. You're out there, you have no help, you're just on your own.
Do you want me to hum the music?
Sure.
Okay. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, boom, boom.
Another great thing about Metroid was that it was a password pack game. All you had to do was just jot down your password. Next time you log in, you could sign in with that password, pick up right where you left off.
And I think that was kind of a new concept with games, because you couldn't really like save stuff like you can with games now.
But I had terrible handwriting, and I would constantly, I'm disorganized, so I'm losing my passwords, I can't read half the letters.
There was actually a rumor back in the day that if you started the game and instead of putting your normal password in, you typed the word Justin Bailey and then a couple of extra spaces and dashes, it would start you out as the female Samus with full rockets.
Justin Bailey, dash, 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 dash. And you got like...
I didn't know Justin Bailey.
You had it, go back and ask your brother, you knew Justin Bailey.
Whatever 8-year-old nerd found that thing out, I'd like to see what he's doing today.
So Metroid 2 came out for Game Boy in 1991, and that wasn't exactly a hit, I would say.
Yeah, so the Return of Samus was
There doesn't seem to be any thrill to playing the same game on a small black and white screen. Like on a dot matrix screen. That's it, you're taking a step down.
Unless you were playing Metroid on a black and white television set, a really
Right.
small one beforehand.
If you had poor parents and they're like, I told you this is the only TV I can afford.
That's what poor people sound like.
Yeah. And then
And,
poor Japanese people, I told you,
yeah.
this is the only television I can afford.
So, at the end of Metroid 2, Samus actually went against the edicts of her employer, the Galactic Federation, and ended up adopting this little Metroid.
In Metroid 2, you become a mommy. You get a little baby Metroid, and that can't go badly. What could go wrong? You'll bring home a baby Metroid. They're all destroyed except the one baby. Until Super Metroid. I mean, I know it's a little baby one, it's cute. Its little claws and 3 beads in its gelatinous skull, but bad move, Samus, bad move.
Super Metroid was actually really, really great. Like, it really kept all the qualities of the old Metroid.
It's funny because in the original Metroid, you know, Mother Brain is like this like horse head inside of a jar. And then in Super Metroid, you find out she's actually has the body now of a dinosaur.
Mother Brain comes out of the jar and like she walks around. What was she doing in the jar? What was she doing in the first one? She was just waiting to get shot at by missiles? Bad move. Bad move by Mother Brain.
So at the end of the game, you're fighting Mother Brain, and she's about to kill you, and then your little Metroid that you raised comes and saves your life, and it makes space peaceful again, which is all I really wanted in the beginning.
So I guess, you know, kind of smart. It kind of paid off saving that baby Metroid.
So then we came out in 2002 for the GameCube system. We had Metroid Prime.